Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tradesman Experience. This is the podcast built by tradesmen for tradesmen. My name is Josh, and across the table is, of course, the ruggedly handsome Mr. Nate Newton. Nate, how are you, sir?
Making me blush.
You're welcome.
Can't tell with these beards of ours, you know?
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Smile really brings out your legs, though.
Especially when they're behind my ears.
Can you physically?
Fuck no.
Okay, I was like, wait a minute,
I would
hold the phone.
shit myself.
We're about to tune up this YouTube channel. We're going to need to come along and about three bigger guys.
Yeah, right. Maybe a piece of heavy equipment. We're fucking busy, man. Everything's bottlenecked, and now we got two big apartment complexes firing off. We have 2 tilt-ups going. We're going through the verification process for Layton construction. We already did it for Turner. But these really big outfits that are nationwide, you have to go through this vetting process and provide financials and all this other shit. And I'm like, this is invasive, you know? But to be as successful as they are at what they do, they're like, okay, listen here, you fucking sub. Like, we need to know that you're financially sound enough for us to work with you.
We need to know that you know how to run a business.
Right.
What a fucking concept.
I know, right? Yeah. But, so we're going through that stuff. And then, dude, we just landed 2 more custom homes. And they're big. They're chunky motherfuckers, too. Like, one of them's got almost 200,000 pounds of steel in it.
Damn.
Yeah.
The apartment complexes, custom homes too, but several of my clients are welding businesses. It's fucking surprising.
This is a welding podcast.
Shut your whore mouth. I get questions often about moving into the structural market. Turnaround time from stepping into that market to doing work. What does that time span look like?
You said, are you talking like, okay?
Well, when you guys started and you got into structural, like how long was it when you decided to kind of turn the ship towards structural and then started doing work?
Fuck, dude. By the time we got our contractor's license and we bid on work and then one of those projects actually started, it's probably 2.5 years.
Yes. The reason I ask that question is because, people, they fabricate their own time expectations because they just don't know.
Based on what?
Right. And, you know, what the limited experience and exposure that I have in that realm, that's what I try to tell them. And I appreciate that because I wasn't even looking that far out. Thinking about it now, it makes sense because I remember when you guys made the decision to go into that market. You're not going to go into that market and have a job in 3 months.
Nope.
6 months.
Yeah, keep doing work.
months.
This is something that's something you work towards while you're doing what you're already doing, right? We just started Matt and I just went and pulled field measurements for State Street today. We first bid on that apartment complex almost 4 years ago. It's been cost value engineered and redesigned and funding holdups, permit holdups. And then so they like, dude, it's, it's kind of to the point now where I'm like, I didn't even fucking want to do it. Like, you know, you finally get the job and land it, but it's like, it was just such a fucking pain in the ass to get to where we're at. But, you know, once construction goes underway and everybody's money's on the fucking line, that's when, you know, shit actually starts getting going. And dude, do not listen to contractors. And they're like, yeah, no, this thing's going to fire off in 6 months. It is not firing off in 6 months. Like, anything that requires funding, like if you have investors involved, there's going to be a bunch of red tape. There's going to be a bunch of changes. Like anything in that private side. Now, public works, that's a whole other story. Those schedules are held and maintained, you know, to the best of the ability of the general. But, you know, if you get into public works, you know, those projects will typically start very quickly after the contract is signed or the job is awarded. And then, you know, you got to worry about liquidating damages and all that fun shit. So, those will move faster. But yeah, anything private, it's a whole other ball game, you know? So,
well, good piece of information for me to know, because again, I get that question often. there's apparently some level of sex appeal to being in the structural industry.
Which is weird because it used to be the other, like, you know, it was sexy to be a pipeliner and then you were kind of a knuckle dragger if you were doing structural. But, I mean, dude, because structural's fucking, it's not as easy as people think it is. You know, they're like, you know, in the welding community, they're like, oh, structural guys are just they got fucking pipeline and, oh, you're going to go bolt that up. It's like,
right.
Yeah, dude, you want to be hanging off a ladder 20 feet in the fucking air trying to weld a moment frame together? Like, I would much rather just TC bolt that shit and fucking move on with it, you know?
Yeah.
But,
you gotta have some toughness if you're going to hold on to that TC gun.
Yeah, right? Yeah, or just being that high in the air, you know? It's like, most of these motherfuckers are like, oh, just go do structural, and then they can't walk a fucking beam because they're afraid of heights, and it's like, what did you think you were going to do here? Like, but I know that the iron worker game is really appealing, and especially in like inner city areas where they're doing sky rises and shit. Like, that's cool work, you know? Like, get to see the city skyline every day and up there slinging big steel, you know? But, yeah, I don't know. I enjoy structural now. You know, I actually worked all day yesterday.
Do you need to lie down?
Yeah.
Are your hands still bleeding?
Yeah, my vagina too. But, yeah, dude, I mean, because we're a little short-staffed right now, so Matt and I are both out in the field. But, yeah, it was, dude, fucking flying steel's fun, you know? Especially when you got a good crane operator. Makes a world of difference.
Yeah. I got to experience a little bit of it when we did that job over in Fernley. For me especially, it was fun because it's so...
Fernley or Fallon?
Fallon, sorry.
Okay. CC Columns?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was fun. Columns, you know, just all kinds of fun stuff. I enjoyed it because I got to be in the field a little bit. But it is fun. Yeah. You know, it's a big game of Tetris. And is everything going to line up the way the prints say and the detailing says and the way we fabricated things? Is it going to all start coming together? And when it does, it's sexy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, when you got all your steel standing out there by itself, the framers haven't started attaching anything to it. Like, looks cool, you know? Yeah. You're like, here's the bones of this building, you know?
Yeah.
But especially some of these custom homes, dude, with the amount of steel that's in them, it's fucking nuts, you know? And you would never know that the steel is there on most of these houses because all the steel gets buried in the walls.
Is that just part of the Tahoe engineering?
It's snow load stuff. Yeah. That's the main factor behind all the steel. But, yeah, that and heavy earthquake presence around here. A lot of tectonic movement. So, but yeah, I mean, dude, we're putting beams inside of these houses that we use those same size beams for parking structures for fucking apartment complexes, you know, like big industrial size shit. So, and this is going in somebody's fucking house so they can have a flat roof it's all windows down the front side, you know. So that's the modern look. People want these flat roofs, and it's like, we just had a 65-foot snowpack this year. Like, yeah. It takes some structural integrity for that not to collapse and kill you.
What if you could do radiant heat on that roof for snow melt?
I know people do it on their driveways.
Yeah.
Wovoka, which was Bentley's place up there at the lake. His driveway was heated front to back, and his driveway was probably like 1/4 mile long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
standalone heater system just to run that, you know, water heater just for that.
Yeah, because I can't remember. It's like 100 BTU per square foot on snow melt or some shit. It's a crazy load. You know, you have to have a lot of capacity to be able to do snow melt.
Right.
So everything has to be standalone. Yeah. Probably own propane tank up there. I mean, that system probably has its own propane tank.
God, could you imagine filling that fucking thing up? God damn.
Every time it snows, you don't want to shovel.
Yeah, because it's not like he would have shoveled his driveway anyway. Right. So it's like he just doesn't have to hire somebody to come shovel the driveway.
If you get a house like that up in Tahoe, you're hiring it done.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But
that dude bought 1/4 of Scotland, so it's like, he was just fine.
Did that lake property ever sell?
I think he might have kept it. I know that the distillery sold.
I heard that.
The Bentley Heritage Distillery. So, I I can only imagine what the fucking price tag. You keep hearing all these different numbers. Nobody knows how much anybody paid for that.
No.
They're like, yeah, it was $250 million. I'm like,
was it?
Who told you that? My uncle's cousin, sister, heard from the accountant at a sister company of Bentley.
So at the bar.
Yeah.
You heard it at the bar. Okay,
yeah.
just making sure. Yeah. Have you gotten any inquiries yet about jobs, hiring? Anybody reached out yet?
Not from the podcast.
Okay.
Had a couple of people reached out or just inquired a little bit via Instagram. We do have female starting in 2 weeks. She came in and tested. She's local. But, positions are still open. So,
good.
We're not opposed to relocating somebody too. So,
Garrett said he's sorry. He can't.
Sure you are, Garrett.
Sorry, you can't make it out here. But, no, that's good. You guys are still looking. So the position that's starting in 2 weeks, which, that'll be a good opportunity for us to revisit the onboarding process.
Yeah, we're going to be very diligent about it. Because we're tired of wasting time with slapdicks too, so it's like,
it's interesting. You guys have gotten, you've matured past a lot of that. And when you look at the last two people that they decided to leave, it was for just a different opportunity, Garrett being one, Nick, is going out in September. That's turnover you can't control, right? You can't plan for that. Doesn't matter the quality of the person. As the business matures and as the company matures and you and Matt mature as leaders, you start to have enough experience to know we don't want to hire that type of individual. But regardless, you still have to have an effective onboarding process. It's a systematic operation, to the business. So, yeah, I'm excited because you've had some Grant's in the leadership role now, right? Has he been part of an onboarding yet?
No, not yet. We had kind of a soft one with that kid that we brought in and we let him go pretty quick.
Oh, yeah.
He was only there for a couple weeks. So.
That's the beauty of the onboarding process.
Right? Yeah. But, no, not yet, but he will be on this one. Okay. So, yeah.
Good. Next point on the agenda is the Ask Me Anything episode. Our official 200th episode is going to be around the end of July. And we're wanting to have some fun with it. I want anyone that has questions for you to send them to me, and anyone that has questions for me to send them to you. So you and I can sit here and volley questions back and forth, unknowing what they are.
Right.
So we get a real, true, probably hilarious reaction on some of the questions.
I might need some Breckenridge for that one.
It's in here.
Is it?
Oh, there's some. There's some.
All right.
Right over there.
All right. Turn it into a Hold My Whiskey episode.
One of the guys he actually said that to me. He said, sounds like it might turn into a Hold My Beer episode. But send us your questions. And that's what, again, we're going to make the entire episode kind of a celebration, and I know we're going to go down this memory lane on episode 200, but looking at where you and I started with this and the fact that we're approaching our 200th episode is something worth celebrating. I'm excited about it.
Yeah. Dude, it's crazy to think it's been 3.5 years we've been doing this. I know people that can't hold jobs that long, let alone do something for free that long.
And, a question I often get is, are you afraid you're going to run out of content? I said, not as long as I continue to work with people.
Yeah. As long as I'm running a business, I got plenty of shit to talk about.
All of the time. There's always something evolving that comes up. And us getting to discuss things in real time has always been, I think, a good quality, a character quality of this episode, or this show. But anyway, send us your questions. We want to have some fun with it, but we're also opening it up to an Ask Me Anything, conversation. So you can send those to us. Today, as of this recording, today I did a webinar for Field Pulse. And I'm going to talk about Field Pulse for a second because we don't have sponsors for this show. That was something you and I discussed kind of early on. We want to be able to maintain control of the content, the things that we say, how we say them. And for anyone that doesn't know, for probably 100 episodes now, these are all unedited.
Yeah.
They're completely unedited, which is pretty awesome, I have to say.
We're just that good.
You're welcome. So I did a webinar with Field Pulse. Field Pulse and Field Pulse and the Tradesman Experience are partners. We are working affiliates. What that means is they promote me to their clients. I promote Field Pulse to my clients. But I do it. The reason I partnered with them was because they solve a lot of problems for me, which means they solve a lot of problems for my clients. And so on the blackboard behind me, Nate, you see that list of stuff. I had that written up there because I did a testimonial video for Field Pulse. When you look at small business, and our conversation tonight is going to revolve around operational excellence, which was the title of the webinar that I did today. When you look at operations of a business and you look at businesses in the skilled trades, everything that we do revolves around the craft itself. And we kind of ignore those pieces that make a business a business.
Right.
Field Pulse checks boxes like proposals,
dispatching,
logistics, dispatching, POs, job costing, time cards. I don't know what else is behind me. Automated messaging. Right? There's a dozen things that your business needs to successfully operate and create the best experience for the client that program offers. When I entered into the conversation about partnering with them, I basically interrogated them. I had conversations with the founder and the CEO. I had conversations with multiple department heads, and I did my due diligence because I wanted to make sure, and this is the conversation that I had with them. I said, I need to trust that you are going to take care of my client.
Right.
That's what's important to me. Their customer service is phenomenal. You use Field Pulse.
Yeah, we use it. Yep.
Most of my clients use it because, again, I don't sell anything that's plug and play. So this allows me to offer something that is plug and play that completely complements the work that I do with my clients. So if you have a business, a small business, they are built to work with skilled trades companies with less than 30 people. So they're built for small business.
Yeah.
And they're based out of Dallas, Fort Worth. So their tech support is American.
Yeah. Press 1 for English.
Right.
Why is that guy on the other end?
You know what? Shit like that's important to me.
Yeah. Well, and they're like, Yesenia is the one that, kind of manages our account. And, dude, she's fucking on it. If we have any issues whatsoever, they're constantly revamping stuff and making it better. And I don't know how to use most of the functions. Someday when we get an EFI, it'll probably be utilized to its fullest potential. I'm not savvy enough and I haven't spent the time to figure it out, but we're getting by with what we're doing right now. So,
well, you're using the parts of the system that complement you and work with the business right now.
Yeah.
And as the business grows and you can evolve into the other ones, I actually appreciate that point because I think it's a mistake for someone to jump into something and go, all right, I need to know how to use everything.
Dude, that's because it does so much. You can do so much with it that like I slowly have learned how to do more and more on it, but these functions that are on there, dude, if you were to try and take that on all at once, yeah, you'd probably give up on it, Mm-hmm. So, I mean, if I have a suggestion to people, if you're running off because our Field Pulse is tied into our QuickBooks. Mm-hmm. So we ran everything through QuickBooks for a long time. So this is just an enhancement of that. So when we went to Field Pulse, I operated Field Pulse like I did QuickBooks. I did the same things on there, and then I slowly learned how to do other shit with it. So, and there's the things that they are able to do in there is just mind blowing. But, if you switch, if you decide you want to pick up on Field Pulse, that's the way I would suggest going into it and then expanding on it. But learn how to use it in the most rudimentary way possible and then start screwing around with it.
If you are interested in Field Pulse, hit me up. I will send you a link that will give you a discount if you sign up. And that's just one of the benefits of being an affiliate. Mm-hmm. And when we had the conversation, again, the interrogation really, that I went through before I agreed to partner with them, because they did offer to sponsor the podcast. And I was like, nope, but let's see if there's an opportunity for us to work together.
Right.
And they said, we can either pay you for every person you bring us, or we can give your client a discount. Which one do you want? I said, give them the discount. I'm not interested in making money off this transaction. I'm more interested in adding value to my clients and helping them become successful. So that's why I can send you a link that's going to give you a discount. And it's like a lifetime discount. Shit. I mean, once you sign up through the link and you stay on there, like, you get this discount. It doesn't expire in a year.
Oh, shit.
So that's, that was something that I thought was valuable for the clients. The conversation with Field Pulse, the webinar today got me really thinking about some of the conversations that I've had recently and looking at companies, and I've onboarded some new clients, and which I love, because you just get some really kind of aha moment conversations. One of the biggest aha moments is when that business owner realizes that they're not alone. That they're not the only one feeling this way, right?
Yeah. I mean, because we do such a good job of burying it deep down inside, pretending, that whole fake it till you make it thing. We all gotta put on the facade that we know what we're doing, and we want to instill confidence in other people. Make them believe that we know what we're fucking doing, and yeah, you're the right guy for the job. The more time I've spent in business, and especially dealing with other vendors and other subcontractors, the ones that look like they really got it all together, they boast how well they have it all together, and they're very upfront about it. Like, I see right through it these days. Like those of us that say I don't know a lot. Those are the people that are typically hanging in there a little bit better, but that we're all kind of just hanging in there,
It really is a common thread with small business owners, because when we go out into the market and we decide to create something that we want to call our own, the inception, the birth, and the growth of this company is strictly tied to the identity of the craft itself. And if that is the only way that you're approaching the market, you're going to get your teeth kicked in.
Yeah.
Because the craft doesn't know anything about the business. I was listening to one of Andrew Huberman's interviews. When I saw he had Tim Ferriss on there, I got really excited because I'm a Tim Ferriss fan from way back in the day, because he's one of the pioneers of podcasting. So I went through that 4-hour interview, and I'll tell you what Tim said, and then I'll share with you how I interpreted it. It was near the end of the conversation. Huberman was asking Tim Ferriss, what do you see in your future? What are some of the things that you want to do? One of the things Tim said, he said, I want to be a parent. And he said, and I'm very specific as to how I say that, because a lot of people say, I want to have kids. Most people don't say, I want to be a parent. And he said, I think those are two significantly different things.
Yeah, that's definitely a whole other whole other mindset. Yeah, that changes the game there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I took that, shaped it, and said, okay, a lot of people want to own a business, but a lot of people don't want to be business owners.
Right, right.
And when you attack it that way, where, I know how to do this thing, so I want to own a business.
Right.
You're neglecting being a business owner.
Right. There's so much more than just that, dude. Yeah. And you come to, if you start having any level of success when it comes to owning a business in the trades, your job goes away from the craft really quick. There's some people that can still do it, like Nick Pizzatis and stuff like that. But, you get into owning a business in the trades and you're not on the tools. You start getting some momentum. If you got 4 or 5 people underneath you, your time is not spent fucking swinging a hammer, and you have to be mentally prepared for that, because you're like, oh, I'm just going to go do the work and make money, and that's a business. And then if you learn how to run a business, you'll realize that is the least important thing for your time.
Yeah, doing work for money.
Yeah.
So having that mindset and having that mindset shift of going from I want to own a business to I want to be a business owner, and recognizing that now you have to build all of these other skills that compound the trade, the one thing that your identity is tied to. Sales is one. Dude,
getting tradespeople to sell. Jesus, it's not the easiest thing on the planet, Well, because we all struggle communicating. If you look at the way we communicate, just when we're all just doing the work, and then you have to adjust how you talk to people because now you're interacting with clients and vendors and insurance and all this other shit. I think the single-handedly the most important skill you'll learn when you go to own a business is communication, and that's really hard for us to figure out,
When you really understand several parts, and we won't go down the entire rabbit hole of selling, but one, you have to understand it's not your job to find their money. It's your job to solve their problem.
Right.
When you do that from an approach of identifying the want or need of the client, creating option-based solutions, walking through an inform and educate process, you're not selling them anything.
Yeah.
You're giving them a menu that they can choose from and letting them decide if they want to utilize your services. That's not selling.
Right.
Technically, every time we do something, we sell. But when you don't take it from that approach, when you don't look at it and go, God, I got to try to sell somebody something. Look at it as this is an opportunity for me to solve their problem, and they can decide if I'm the best solution. There's no pressure in that.
Right.
Right? You're not trying to, I need to talk to the wife. You want to get her on the phone, I'll wait while you guys go through this. And I've been through those trainings, man.
Right.
I've been through high pressure sales trainings. I've worked for those companies.
Dude, do you ever feel good about a high pressure sale?
Never.
I feel like a scumbag afterwards, Like, I don't feel like I served that client whatsoever because I've done it, like your shit gets a little lean and you're like, fuck, we need to get some work rolling through the door. And there's a huge difference between upselling stuff and high pressure sales.
Thank you.
Right?
Yes.
Now, those are two very different tactics,
Laughing because I got a text message yesterday, and he's been through the sales process with me. We've worked a lot together. And no, I'm not saying your name because I'm getting ready to throw out some numbers and I'm not going to affiliate the two. But I get a text message and he says, I just upsold a job from $5,000 to $17,000 simply by asking questions and making suggestions.
Fucking weird, huh?
He said, I also was able to incorporate 2 of my friends that have businesses to do these other parts of the job that I can't do. And then he sent me back and he said, what shocked me was how easy it was.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not trying to sell them something. When you really go through the inform and educate process, that's exactly what you're doing. You're asking questions, you're making suggestions, and you're trying to really cultivate this experience with them so they feel that they're getting what they want.
Yeah.
It is really easy when you do it. It's scary because we were taught how to fix things, how to build things. We weren't taught how to communicate.
Yeah.
You've got to get past that. And the concept of realizing that you can't sell on your budget and it's not your job to find their money.
Yeah, dude. And that's a really hard one for a lot of us when we're starting out is you're like, well, I wouldn't spend that on that.
Yep.
Okay. So don't, but don't tell them they shouldn't do it.
The conversation I had before you walked in here was mostly about sales. And actually he told me to tell you hi and not to beat him up too much on this podcast today because he knew that I was going to, but I told him, I said, here's something you need to do. You need to systematically raise your price until you're consistently told you're too high.
Yeah, I did. I mean, we struggled with that a lot in the beginning. That was really fucking hard to overcome. And then it's like, with what we're trying to accomplish, like I had somebody ask me not that long ago, they're like, why did you get into business? And I can tell you why we stayed in business. We started this out of a fit of rage, right? That's why we got into business. But the reason why we stayed when shit got difficult, it's to better serve the tradesmen, not just the trades, but the tradesmen. And so if we want to be able to take care of people, make sure everybody gets paid well, has a good living, is able to see their family, and do the things they want to do in life, and we make money at the same time, there's a certain cost that comes along with that, and we're not taking advantage of anybody. We're not ripping anybody off. We're doing things the way that they should be done. And that costs money. Once you put it into perspective like that, it becomes a lot easier to raise your rates. You're like, look at what we're doing for all these people, And I personally feel that's why I've stayed in business, like it'd be easy to just throw your hands up and walk away when shit got hard. But that's the kind of stuff that kept me moving forward throughout this whole journey,
Great segue to the topic. Because when you look at everything that you just described, you have to create operational opportunity and operational excellence in the company. Because one, you can never expect anyone on your team to care as much as you do.
It might happen at some point, but
don't expect that. Don't expect it. So let's go ahead and take that off the table. So if you know that they're not going to be as invested as you are in the company and as invested in fulfilling the role as you are, how do you set them up for success? I swear to God, I don't know how many times I say roles, responsibilities, and expectations on this show.
Like at least 30 times an episode.
You got to have that, and we're gonna go ahead and scoot past that. But then you have to look at the operation of the business. What does operational excellence look like? One, internal communication.
And that's really hard, to get it pinned down, especially when you start getting emotional, that when you're in the fucking thick of it and nothing's going right, you're just getting your ass handed to you left and right. Like to be able to have effective conversations, not only with your team, but with your other owners, with your vendors, it's difficult to keep yourself under control in those situations, but it's so fucking necessary. And you're going to fuck it up all the time, and you're going to avoid conversations and you're going to sidestep shit and you're going to be like, oh, it'll figure itself out. And it won't, and, going through some shit that I've been going through lately, it's like the faster you nip it in the ass, the better it's going to be. If you communicate frequently and you can communicate openly, it makes these nuances a lot smaller, Here's
how I try to look at let's just say hard conversations or course corrections or failure. You can't get fit without resistance. Mm-hmm. So you go to the gym, you're only able to build muscle and gain strength by resistance. Mm-hmm. I don't care if it's a cable machine, free weights, fucking Bowflex. I don't care. The point is,
your age is showing.
I know, right? What the fuck is a Bowflex? I think I hunt with one of those. No, you don't. Shut up. Whatever happened to them? They just
it's just any home workout equipment. It comes out. It's a hot thing. Like wait till Pelotons are in every fucking garage sale across the fucking country.
Yeah.
You know,
I guess that's the new Bowflex.
That's the new Bowflex.
It's the Peloton.
Yeah.
I am showing my age. I haven't even said that word or seen one of those in so long.
There's some kid listening to this right now, like, now I gotta Google it. What the fuck is it?
Yeah. Just so everyone understands, I am older than the internet. Okay, by a lot. So fuck off. What the fuck was I talking about? Oh, so resistance. Okay, so when you look at those conversations and building these things and understanding failure as it's resistance training, it's going to make you stronger. Mm-hmm. It's going to make you smarter. It's going to make you more effective in doing the things that you do. Mm-hmm. The first time you ever do something in the gym, it's going to be ugly. It's going to be painful and there's not going to be a lot of weight. Mm-hmm. A year later, look at what you're doing.
Right.
Man, business is the same way. Leading people is the same way. You have to attack the failures with this, aggressiveness that I'm going to do it no matter what it looks like so I can learn and build that resistance training and cultivating all of those pieces, again, of communication and partnerships, relationships, business, clients. There's so much opportunity for resistance training. Mm-hmm. And if you're constantly looking for the least amount of resistance, you're going to get the least amount of growth.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you're going to have the most competition on that path of least resistance, right? Oh,
man.
Yeah.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah. Like there's an outfit out here called Paramount. All they do is stairwells and railings. Nobody wants to do that shit, right? Especially if it's high production apartment complex stuff where it's like just crank them out. The only reason we ever take shit like that on is because it comes with the rest of the package. You have to incorporate it all, but they've made a business model out of doing the shit people don't want to do.
Yeah.
Fucking brilliant, right?
So great.
Yeah, it makes sense, and they're well known for it, and they'll jump in with other contractors that, like Martin Iron, who's fucking massive. These guys buy steel milled direct, like it's a railway dropping off steel.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah. But they call Paramount. They're like, yeah, we're going to do all the structural. You guys take on all the architectural and stairs. Cool. So now not only are they doing the shit that nobody else wants to do and keeping their market vastly, attainable, but now they have massive companies out finding work for them.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good fucking
maneuver. It's a good business model.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aligning yourself with players in the market like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Stairs are such a pain in the dick. I fucking hate stairwells.
Yeah, a lot of people do. And I know there's a lot of companies that just don't do them, which is why a company like that does exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
So operationally, internal communication, that's a big one. Framework is going to be another. How does information transfer within the company? Mm-hmm. When you onboard a client, when you bring someone in, how are they navigated through your company? Mm-hmm. Even if you're a single owner operator, I want people to understand, I'm not talking about a multifaceted business. Mm-hmm. Once you agree with this client and now they become part of your business, what are you doing with them? Mm-hmm. Systematically, how are you navigating them through this process and involving them in this journey of the work so they feel involved? Mm-hmm. You're showing value. You're solving problems along the way, and it's ultimately creating the best experience. What's really simple about that, on the other side of that, when you begin and you make a sale, on the other end of that, of what I'm talking about, money doesn't matter. They care less about the price tag and more about what they got.
Right.
And they're excited about what they got. But is that a gauntlet that you're taking them through? Or is it one of those like city fucking tour buses where you're navigating along the process? Most companies put their clients through the gauntlet.
Yeah.
And if the client survives, right, seriously, right? Yeah. Whether it's financially, whether it's emotionally, whether the client fucking fires you, whether you fire the client, if they survive on the other end, they're exhausted, they're fucking beat to shit, and all they want to do is pay you, so you leave them alone. Right. Yeah. It's like, please get away from me.
I don't pay you to go away.
So you got to look at that, that framework, a systematic operation inside the business, and how are you doing that? So when you look at that, and if you do have a team, what role do they play along that journey? We were fortunate enough, so I'll give an example of when we were at the height of our success. If you called in, you got Mama D. If you wanted a price on something, Mama D got you scheduled with one of the salespeople. The salespeople took you on this journey of solving your problem. You agreed. You went to the install coordinator. The install coordinator worked closely with Mama D in communicating with the client. The install coordinator now took you on the journey to the installers. The installers worked with you directly to finalize the project. And once the work was done, the salesmen come back in, did a final walkthrough and collect. That was the whole journey. Yeah. The client was handed off, transferred systematically.
I like the hand it off. That's not transferred. Clients are whores.
Hand them off. Yeah.
But I mean, I definitely appreciate that, and it's, in our line of work, it would definitely look a lot different. But, because I've had a lot of experiences in this industry where I have never met a client face to face, and we've done a couple $100,000 worth of work for them, like never once met them. And we did this job and went through it, did the shit, got out, and then you just get a check, and you're like, I mean, yeah, cool. Like, we did the work, and like it was pretty effortless, but still, it seemed very impersonal. And it's just when you go from like with us, the way we sell like our ornamental side, and even dealing with custom home builders, you're very interactive with these people, and then like some of this commercial shit, like these bigger outfits, they've been at it for so fucking long, and they're like, as long as you do the job, just stay the fuck away from me. And it's a weird way to go about it, like they would prefer not to deal with a sub. Yeah. So like then that, it takes that, the experience side out of it for us, but we pride ourselves on that experience part so much that it's just like, it feels almost kind of dirty,
We did the work and got paid. Yeah. But we're missing the panache.
Yeah. Where's the sizzle, man?
We don't get the opportunity to provide the reason that we stand apart in the industry.
Yeah, dude, we're fajitas, not enchiladas, We bring that razzle dazzle.
That sounds like a rap song.
I don't think any of that rhymed, Josh.
No, but that's my point. Like, that's a good freestyle right there. I don't even know what you said.
I've been listening to too much Steel Vaughn lately.
I'm going to start taking notes. I don't know if I'm getting dumber or smarter. I'm going to have to figure that out. So, okay, framework, internal operation. Now, if you don't have a team and you start introducing a team into your business and into your systems, you need an effective interview, hiring, and onboarding process. Yesterday, I did a 2-hour training with a company on onboarding. Met with the owners and all of their team leaders, 2 foremans and a superintendent. And we went through how to properly onboard. And it was really awesome because this morning I got a text message from the owner, and he said, yesterday was really awesome, and I now better understand the importance of hiring on attitude instead of skill set.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're looking at onboarding, they have to be a cultural fit.
Right.
And if you're hiring basic just on skill set, you're probably reactively hiring.
Mm-hmm.
But when you really understand the ownership, when you take ownership of building a culture and you hire people on attitude that are a cultural fit, you'll find out that the skill set just magnifies.
Right. Yeah. And we were fortunate enough to figure that out really quickly. But then we also got to get our asses kicked by reactively hiring, mm-hmm. and to see the contrast in those things. It's really good, you know. It really puts the proof in the pudding, and
I'm laughing because I remember when you guys went through mm-hmm. that reactive hiring phase.
God, we went through like 6 fucking people.
And I'm like on the sidelines, like just like, what are you doing? You know, I just feel like I'm like,
right, yeah. What? But when you get so weeded like that, you know, it's fucking hard to pull your head out of your ass, and then you end up fucking handing somebody their last check. And dude, I have never once felt good about that. Like, I feel like shit firing people. So I was like, I don't want to do that, you know. And so once you go through that a couple times, you're like, let's just do it right the first time, man. But you know, I was listening to like some statistic the other day, and it was saying that 1 out of every 4 tradesmen is over the age of 45. Like, you understand that your pool is shrinking as far as anybody that actually is skilled. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that you've only got an X amount of time to continue to hire somebody that's already skilled.
Yeah,
you know, and so you do have to find somebody that has a little bit of skill, and then but has a good attitude, and move them up through the ranks. You know,
I wish I could get people to understand this. Most companies that I work with, so many of them, have an under 25-year-old that is just a fucking monster.
Right.
That, I mean, you ask these owners, and they're like, I don't know how I got so lucky to find this, you know, young person.
Right.
And I love hearing that because, yes, they're an outlier, but they do exist. And that's the point I want people to understand. Yeah, they might have 5 others that they've tried and tested and have failed. Mm-hmm. But by doing some of that and learning how to interview and hire and cultivating that, they attract these. I mean, some of these companies, like these young individuals would show up to their fucking shop or whatever every month. Mm-hmm. Hey, you hiring yet? I really want to come work here. Hey, I want to do an interview. I mean, they would just come after these people because they want to be a part of that company. And it's exciting for me when you get, you know, a 20-year-old that's just on fire, you know, a 19-year-old that just acts like a fucking 40-year-old man and owns it.
Right.
It's like, oh, yes, it's awesome.
Dude, do you know who that was? That was fucking Holden, dude.
Yeah.
I remember when he started, he was like, must have been 25 or something. But dude, he's just an old soul, you know, but still a wild child, fucking shithead kid, but fucking was just got after it.
Yeah.
And didn't even really need much instruction. Just told him what needed to be done. And he'd figure it the fuck out, you know? So.
Yeah. One of the guys I talked to, I told him because it was literally, I think his first hire, and he just scored, you know.
That was us and Grant.
Right.
We did the same thing.
And I told him, I said, now I got to warn you. That's going to taint your hiring ability,
right?
Because you assume everybody's like that, and that's you're going to find out real quick that's not the case. But I'm just glad to know that they exist. You know, that this new generation catches so much shit that these outliers are showing up and proving everybody wrong. That's exciting for me. So interviewing, hiring, onboarding. When you onboard, it has to be systematic. You really have to understand the purpose of the onboarding process is not to discover their maximum skill set. It's to discover whether or not they have what it takes to be a good cultural fit. So it's a very simple question. Do I want to work with this person? Does my team want to work with this person? Onboarding process, you're going to hand them off to the team if you have one. You're going to scrutinize everything they do, right? When I hire you, my expectation is going to be very clear. This is going to be uncomfortable for you. For the next 30 days, we're going to micromanage and scrutinize everything that you do. If you show up late in this onboarding process, I will fucking murder you. Because everything that we're doing, we're taking seriously. I want us to go through this journey of 30 days and come out on the other side and trust each other and agree that we can work together. This isn't top down, by the way. This is the opportunity for you to say, I don't agree with that, and here's why. But it's going to be uncomfortable. And when I was doing that training yesterday, I told them, I said, if they're not getting frustrated with you, you're not pushing hard enough.
Yeah. We've talked about the onboarding process quite a bit, but yeah, you gotta, pressure makes diamonds, right? So, stir the pot a little bit.
Yeah. And it's okay, because you want to know at the end of that 30 days, again, that you can enter into this agreement and it's going to work. As we're going through this, I want people to remember it is about creating a systematic operation in your business that doesn't remove the human factor, right? I talked a lot about Field Pulse. Field Pulse is solely, the output of that program is solely dictated by the quality of input, which is managed by a human.
Right.
Okay. When people write out systems of operations or protocols, it's real easy to put it on a sheet and go A leads to B leads to C and so on. We talked about it in the last conversation, I think, or one of the last ones. Everybody gets a vote, right? When you try to remove the human factor, the recipe is disappointment.
Right.
That's what you're going to create. So you have to understand that what you want to do is you want to create an operation and you want to create opportunity for people to plug themselves into it and make it better. Not fucking make it worse.
Right.
And now go, well, I don't know why I got to fill out a time card and I have to do it at my last place. Okay. They are fired.
Yeah. Right. Jesus.
Yeah. But it's about creating systems of operations that allow your team to be successsul, allow access to information. One of the questions that I got today was about transparency of the business. So many of these business owners, they want to create a system, but they don't want to create access to information in doing so. For example, one of the big fears apparently is, well, if I let them know how much we're charging and I give them apparently fucking some of these contractors don't even want to give the phone number of the client to their technician. So they're limiting access to information because they're afraid that technician is going to steal their client and start their own business.
Oh, God.
That is the mindset of some of these small business owners.
I can't. Yeah.
I didn't understand it either.
I can't wrap my fucking head around that, dude. Our guys know what we charge, but we take good care of them. If you're that concerned about it, maybe quit fucking your people over.
I explained it this way. I said, that's a mushroom manager. That's someone that keeps their employees in the dark, feeds them shit, and hope they grow.
Right.
And that doesn't build trust. And I said, if you have anyone on your team that you don't trust with your client, why are they there?
Yeah. Yeah, that's some toxic shit right there.
Oh, man.
God, could you imagine being in like a relationship with somebody like that? Like withholding information to have a fucking leg up on them, you know? And how ineffective does that make your fucking team at that point? Right? There's absolutely no upside. And if it's that easy to steal your fucking clients, you're probably a piece of shit anyway.
I love that you're stumbling to explain it because that's how much it doesn't make sense.
It's nonsense. Yeah.
But that's how, I guess, some of these small business owners operate. Again, they want to own a business. They don't want to be a business owner.
Right. Yeah.
When I got that question fired at me, my initial reaction is I wanted to, attack, because it's like, you're the fucking problem.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
But it's like, okay, how can we be educational, in my response? But when you look at that, the operations of your business should not be designed to limit the growth and success of your team.
Mm-hmm.
They should be there to promote growth and success of your team. Mm-hmm. By the way, you can't manage people.
Yeah.
You can manage systems. Mm-hmm. You can manage expectations, inventory, money, but you can't manage people. You can't treat them like a commodity.
Right.
You have to lead people. And the more trust you give them, the more opportunity you give them, and the more your company is structured to be operationally excellent, the better off your team is going to perform. Mm-hmm. And they're going to want to show up. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, man, I cannot wait to be managed today.
Right. Yeah. It's like going to work with your mother. Like that's what managing would be. You're telling something to do something all the time, expecting a certain result, and nobody wants to operate.
Nobody wants that. Mm-hmm. People want to be trusted to do the right thing. Mm-hmm. And they want to understand that when they fail, there's going to be constructive conversations had and things established that mitigate, not prevent, but mitigate failure in the future, but also continue to provide opportunity for that individual. So just operationally with a business, your skill, your trade is just a tiny piece of this whole thing. And you got to have systematic ways to sell information, communicate, hire, fire, build a team, branding, marketing, inventory. Doesn't matter. You need systematic ways to operate your business. Because, I'll wrap up with this question. Would your business pass the school bus test? Meaning, if you got ran over by a school bus going to work, would your business survive? Would anyone be able to take over that business, look at the operations, and continue your work? Right. Or does your business die with you the same time the school bus hits you?
I'm not going to answer that.
Yeah. Are we all in the same vehicle? Yeah, right. Are we walking? Why are we walking?
Yeah. And I'm not allowed anywhere near a school anyway. So.
But anyway, that's operational excellence. Looking at that within your company. So. Yeah, you got that look on your face. You done?
Yeah.
I can always tell.
Dude, it's just been a fucking hellacious week. So, and then we're rolling into a fucking holiday weekend. So, yeah. But yeah, dude. Oh, cool. A little bit of cool news. Fucking. We're gonna go to the celebrity golf tournament.
The what?
Celebrity golf tournament up there at Edgewood.
What does that mean?
Fucking PDM got us tickets, and then they got us rooms up there too. So
that's why you're wearing their hat today.
Fuck yeah!
Hit them on YouTube.
Ken's been hooking it up, dude. Yeah. All right. Good. Get you all up in there, Ken.
Is it quiet as to what celebrities are going to be there?
I don't know. I mean, usually like Michael Jordan's there, and fuck. I might, because my dad was a deputy here, so all the caddies are deputies.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yep. That's fair.
Yeah.
Your caddy has a gun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Knows how to use it. Yeah.
Understandable.
Well, I don't know. Debatable these days. Could probably outshoot half the force. We're not going down that fucking rabbit hole right now. So.
I'm very pro police.
I'm very pro police too.
Yeah. So I get it. Well, good. And is that this weekend?
No, it's on the 15th of July or something. But they have a tent right on the 16th hole. So they provide you all the food and drink you want, and so I'm like, just thank you, Ken. I'm pumped on that.
Yeah.
So It'll be a good time. I always like hanging out with Ken too. Like,
Yeah.
he's like, we went out to lunch with him the other day. He's like, dude, you're not even really a client. Like, you're a buddy of mine. Yeah. Agreed.
Well, what's cool is you'll never take advantage of that. So, and he knows that.
No. I mean, I have asked him to take us golfing one time, but that was
One time.
Yeah, one time. But dude, he fucking takes us out to lunch all the time, and
he was like, "You want to go golfing?"
Yeah. Dude, he was always like, "Fuck yeah, I'll take you golfing."
Yeah, I like it. I like when I get to see him.
Yeah.
So, awesome. Well, you can find Nate on Instagram at NateNewton87. I am on Instagram at The Tradesman Experience. Email is thetradesmanexperience@gmail.com. Website's thetradesmanexperience.com. And the YouTube channel is The Tradesman Experience. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. Get out there and get shit done. Be proud to be a tradesman. See you.